Welcome to your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit. Today, we're pulling back the hood on one of the biggest disruptions the North American auto scene has faced in recent years. Stellantis, the powerhouse behind Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram, has slammed the brakes on production at major plants across the US, Canada, and Mexico. The culprit? A wave of fresh tariffs rolled out by the Trump administration. While the aim was to protect American industry, the fallout has been anything but clean. Let's rev into the key breakdowns that reveal just how deep this shakeup really goes. Factory freeze. Stellantis hits the brakes. Stellantis didn't waste time hitting the brakes. Within days of President Trump's new tariffs taking effect, the automaker halted operations at its Windsor assembly plant in Canada and the Toluca facility in Mexico, two pillars of its North American strategy. Over 4,500 jobs in Windsor and thousands more across Mexico and the U.S. support network were suddenly up in the air. The company framed these shutdowns as urgent cost-saving moves. With component prices spiking nearly 25%, executives likened continued production to pouring money down the drain. Stellantis also pulled its 2025 financial forecast and launched a full-blown review of capital spending. Behind the scenes, losses mounted. May reports showed a 64% drop in operating income and $6 billion in cash gone, mostly from U.S. operations. CEO Carlos Tavares was ousted, signaling a leadership shakeup. Industry insiders claim this isn't just damage control, it's deeper restructuring masked by a tariff storm. Union leaders aren't buying it either, accusing Stellantis of mismanagement while rivals like Ford and GM double down on local hiring. Is this a reset or a retreat? But when the factories stall, the real test begins further up the supply chain. Let's see how global sourcing turned from an asset into a liability. Global supply gridlock, the weak link in the chain. For decades, automakers thrived on cross-border harmony. Cheap parts from Mexico, advanced tech from Canada, final assembly in the US. It was efficient, cost-effective, and smooth, until Trump's tariffs hit the brakes. A 25% duty followed by a 10% baseline sent costs skyrocketing and operations stalling. Take the Jeep Compass, built in Mexico, packed with parts from Indiana and Ontario. Its per-unit cost ballooned, forcing Stellantis to halt production, not due to weak demand, but runaway costs. Nissan paused U.S. orders of its Mexico-built QX series. Volkswagen tacked on import surcharges. The ripple effects were fast and wide. Even transmission plants in Indiana and stamping sites in Michigan had to scale back. Stellantis's COO Antonio Filosa called their supply web an Achilles heel. The Brampton plant in Canada froze planned upgrades, and other automakers like Mercedes and Volvo are fast-tracking U.S. expansion. Stellantis is shifting truck production to American soil for USMCA tariff relief, but reworking contracts and retooling plants is no quick fix. Until then, consumer delays, empty lots, and nervous investors remain part of the new normal. Now, before we dive into how these disruptions are hitting Stellantis's most beloved brands, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Piston Pundit. We break down the auto world's toughest turns, so you're always in the driver's seat. Under pressure, Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram struggle to keep up. The Stellantis powerhouse, Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram, is facing a brand identity crisis under the weight of production woes and shrinking inventories. What once symbolized rugged reliability and American muscle now risks becoming synonymous with delays and disappointment. Jeep shut down Compass production entirely, while Wrangler and Grand Cherokee builds are choking on costly imported components. Some dealers report an 80% drop in Jeep inventory, leaving showrooms looking more like ghost towns than gearhead havens. Over at Dodge, Brampton plant slowdowns have left Charger and Challenger fans in limbo. Canceled custom orders like one Michigan buyer's lost Scat Pack echo across forums, chipping away at brand loyalty. Chrysler's Windsor-built Pacifica is also on thin ice. Shutdowns have pushed families and rideshare drivers toward Toyota and Honda alternatives. And the Chrysler 300? It may not last another fiscal quarter. Ram's final assemblies in Michigan can't escape their Mexican and Canadian supply dependencies. Some rural dealers now receive only 4 Ram 1500s a month, driving up used truck prices and stressing contractors. The harsh reality? Without rapid localization, Stellantis' brand equity may stall out entirely. And that strain on brand identity? It's trickling straight down into the consumer experience, especially when it comes to pricing. Wallet warning: price spikes and loan rejections hit buyers. This crisis isn't just a headline, it's hitting drivers right where it hurts: their wallets. Analysts now warn that new vehicle prices could climb by $2,000 to $4,000 across the board. Stellantis models like the Jeep Compass have already jumped from $28,000 to over $32,000. The Ram 1500, creeping past $50,000. That sticker shock rolls straight into the financing office. Loan rejections are climbing even for well-qualified applicants as lenders react to bloated vehicle prices and tighter household budgets. Monthly payments are up, and first-time buyers are increasingly priced out. Used vehicles aren't offering much relief either. A Dodge Charger that once sold for $24,000 now lists closer to $29,000. Entry-level shoppers and essential workers are being squeezed out altogether. Ford is fighting back with expanded employee pricing, hoping to hold its ground. But if tariffs escalate, even that won't be enough. Some dealerships report showroom traffic down 40%. Others are cutting ad spend and shelving expansion plans. With R&D and hiring on hold, Stellantis faces a brutal loop: rising prices, falling sales, and dwindling loyalty. Could EVs be the industry's exit strategy? Let's take a look at how electrification is faring in today's turbulent climate. Electric hopes, geopolitical jolts, EVs and trade turmoil. Electric vehicles were once seen as the future-proof fix for the U.S. auto industry, built domestically, cleaner, and less entangled in overseas supply chains. But reality is throwing up roadblocks. At GM's Factory Zero in Detroit, hundreds were laid off after demand for the Hummer EV and Silverado EV dried up, even with $20,000 discounts. High sticker prices, poor charging infrastructure, and long wait times are turning buyers away. Stellantis isn't immune. The Charger Daytona EV and Pacifica plug-in hybrid have been sidelined by supply issues and tariff-tagged components. Production is on pause as executives scramble to rework sourcing strategies. Globally, things are heating up. China slapped a 125% tariff on certain U.S. goods. Some cargo shipments are being canceled mid-route due to financial losses, shaking trust in international logistics. To fight back, Stellantis is reshuffling truck production to U.S. soil and boosting domestic content for USMCA compliance. But retooling takes time, and every delay risks eroding consumer confidence. Meanwhile, even Europe is cooling on EVs. Volvo and Mercedes are scaling back goals, hinting the EV boom might stall before it peaks. So with all these shifts, where does Stellantis go from here? Let's bring it all together. Verdict: reset in motion or reverse in progress. So, is Stellantis gearing up for a strategic reboot, or just shifting into reverse? With leadership turnover, suspended earnings guidance, and major brand disruptions, one thing is clear: they're at a turning point. The stakes are high. With prices ballooning, availability shrinking, and loyalty fraying, buyers are rethinking their choices. Ram, Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler, names once known for power and reliability, are now caught in the storm of a global supply squeeze and political unpredictability. This isn't just a hiccup. It's an industry-wide wake-up call. Will Stellantis respond with agility and innovation, or fade into irrelevance? What's your take, gearheads? Do you think Stellantis can bounce back, or is this the beginning of a long decline? Would you still buy from Jeep, Ram, or Dodge despite the chaos? Are you feeling the effects of price hikes or supply shortages in your area? Drop your thoughts, gripes, or gearhead hot takes in the comments. We read them all. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve on all things auto, make sure to subscribe to Piston Pundit, your ultimate pit stop for vehicle updates, insights, and no-nonsense breakdowns. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you down the road. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's plenty more to explore.